Today's episode is going to be a very interesting one. I'm going to compare more than 30 cars, EV cars, across 7 brands for a brand new parameter that I have coined. It's called range gained per minute of charging. Yes, range gained per minute of charging. And I think that is an important parameter for EV car owners, especially when you go on long drives. And I'm going to use this parameter and going to calculate how much time it takes for each of these cars to cover certain distances. So that will be the goal of this episode. It's going to be a long one. I hope you will find it interesting and stay till the end. Hello everyone, welcome back again to another exciting episode of Green and Clean YouTube channel. My name is Vittal. When EV manufacturers talk about the charging speed of their cars, they often say 20 to 80% in 30 minutes, 20 to 80% in 50 minutes, some say 19 minutes. But how practical are those speeds given the conditions of, or given the speeds at which our public charging infrastructure offers today? So that's going to be an interesting aspect. I think what is more important than how fast you can do from 20 to 80% for me personally is how many kilometers of range that I will get by spending 1 minute at the charging station, or range gained per minute. That is going to be an important factor, at least for me, and I hope it will be for you as well. So by watching this episode, you will be a bit surprised how different cars perform under different charging speeds, and you will have some insight into what kind of car you may be looking for. This is going to be a long episode, as I said before, so I will split it into two parts. In the first part, we will only talk about range gain per minute of charging, and in the second part, we will use these statistics and the other parameters of the car to calculate how fast a car can cover certain distances, let's say 400, 800 or 1200 kilometers or something like that. So we will do that in the second part. But today we are going to talk about range gained per minute of charging. So there's a lot of research that has gone into this episode, so much so that I had to write a small Python program to churn out all the data that I have gathered from various places and bring some context into today's episode. As I said, we will be talking about 34 different EV cars. I will not be covering each and every model of a make, but I will only be considering the battery pack and the model, something like that. So there are a total of 34 cars across 7 brands that I will be covering shortly. And this comparison that I'm going to do today is only for range gained per minute of charging. It's not for anything else, like a lot of features that the car offers, the ride quality, etc., etc. The parameter today is just range gained per minute of charging. So as we see these numbers, I want to also tell you that the range gained per minute of charging doesn't necessarily mean that that is the fastest car that you can do long distance with, because the battery pack, the size of the battery pack also matters, and you will come to know as you see part 1 and part 2 of this episode. Again, at the end of these 2 episodes, you will know which car is the best for range gained per minute and which car is the best for long distances in India in 2025. Okay, let's get started without any further ado. So today we are going to discuss these brands. I'll be talking about Tata, Kia, BYD, MG, Hyundai, Mahindra and Volvo cars. I have not included BMW, Mercedes and some other high-end EV cars because I couldn't get a lot of data about these cars, so they are excluded. And also MG Comet is excluded from this study because MG Comet as of now doesn't support DC fast charging. I want to set some context before I start deep into this episode. So we will talk about charging speeds in different, let's say, kind of t-shirt sizes. So a size S means 30 kilowatt charging speed, M means 60, L means 120, XL means 150, and XXL means 350 kilowatt of charging speed. Remember, in India as of today, it's very difficult to find anything over 60 kilowatt of charging speed. There are chargers which are more than 100 or more than 120, but they are very, very few. You really have to struggle to find such charging stations. But as the time progresses, the technology will improve and we will have faster and faster chargers. If you go abroad and see, you will see that the charging speeds are much higher there compared to what we have in India, but we will get there pretty soon. So uh, doing this study up to XXL, which is 350 kilowatt of charging speed, is quite future proof. So we will see all of that as well. I want to talk about assumptions made in this episode, assumptions and disclaimers. The charging stations will not charge at the full speed from the very first minute. So those who have used EVs and used DC fast charging, you will know this fact. So there's going to be a ramp up and a ramp down time for every charging station when you connect the gun. So that is considered here. And there will be heat and transmission losses. Not every kilowatt hour that you pump from the gun goes into the car's battery. So there will be some transmission losses. Considering these two, I have calculated only 80% of charging stations speed as what is realistically usable. So that means if you charge at 60 kilowatt station, you will effectively be charging 48 kilowatt hour per hour into your battery. So that's the assumption, 80% of station's capacity. The battery capacity of different models, the maximum DC fast charging speed of those models, the real life range of those models, they're all gathered from internet, from different posts and things like that. So this study is only as accurate as those data that I got from internet. So the range is assumed at highway speeds of 80 to 90 kilometers per hour in most ideal conditions. So it doesn't consider extreme conditions like heat, cold, or uphill and downhill and things like that. So it assumes a flat road where you are driving a EV at 80 to 90 kilometers per hour. In the end, this is not the most, I don't want to say that this is the most accurate study ever being done, but this is only an attempt to get close to the reality as much as possible. So if something is wrong, some data is wrong, then it is wrong. I don't stand by everything that is mentioned in this episode. Let's take a quick look at the range per minute of charging, how this number is calculated. I will give you an example of a Tata Punch car here. So Tata Punch has a battery capacity of 35 kilowatt hour, and based on the what I find in the internet, the real range is about 315 kilometers. So I first calculate the efficiency of this car in terms of kilometer per kilowatt hour. So that's 315 divided by 35, which comes to 9 kilometers per kilowatt hour. And range per minute of charging is calculated by multiplying the minimum of the charging station speed or the speed that is supported by the car, and multiply that with the efficiency, divide that by 60, because I'm considering 1 hour. So the range per minute of charging is calculated this way. Again, it's a product of the charging speed with the efficiency and dividing it by 60. So that will give us this number. So if you were to look at an example, a Tata Punch, for example, at 30 kilowatt hour station, the number is 30 because 30 kilowatt of speed is supported by Tata Punch. So it is 30 multiplied by efficiency, which is 9, and divided by 60. So it gives us 4.5 kilometers per minute of range per minute at 30 kilowatt speed. But if you go to 120 kilowatt station speed, then Tata Punch only supports up to 60. So I multiply 60 with 9 and divide by 60. It gives 9 kilometers per minute as the range per minute of charging. So this is the method in which it is calculated for all the cars. Now I'm going to discuss a lot of different scenarios. So I will show each brand under different charging speeds, which model is the fastest in terms of range per minute, and then for under each charging speed, which is 30, 60, 120, 150 and 350, we will see which car, we will also pick the top 5 cars that are fastest in terms of range gained per minute of charging. Okay, let's first look at Tata cars. So we are now talking about t-shirt size S. That means at charging station of 30 kilowatt speed, how the Tata cars perform. This list is sorted based on the highest range per minute of charging. So as you can see here, Tata Punch with 35 kilowatt hour battery gives 4.5 kilometers of range per minute of charging. That means if you charge for 1 minute at this speed, you will get 4.5 kilometers of range. So you have seen how this was calculated in the example I showed earlier. So that is the speed. So Tata Punch wins among Tata cars. Next is Tata Nexon 30 kilowatt hour speed, 4.3 kilometers of range per minute. Nexon 45 gives 3.9 kilometers. So what you can observe here at low speeds, at 30 kilowatt speeds, is that the models with the smaller battery pack give better range per minute of charging. That's because the smaller battery pack cars are usually slightly more efficient compared to the larger battery pack, because the battery pack weight is more, and sometimes the cars are also slightly bigger. So the efficiency of smaller cars with smaller batteries is much more, and these cars stand out. They outperform the larger and the more luxury cars at this S speed of charger. So that's what you will see in most of the models. So in Nexon, you will see that Nexon 30 kilowatt hour gives 4.3, whereas Nexon 45 gives 3.9, slightly less than the other battery pack. Similarly, on Curve 45 kilowatt hour gives 3.6 kilometers, Curve 55 gives 3.5 kilometers. Harrier has been talked about highly by Tata, but in this speed at 30 kilowatt or 30 kilowatt speed, Harrier is coming at 6th or 7th position among the Tata cars. So Harrier 75 gives 3.5 kilometers of range. Harrier 65 kilowatt hour battery gives 3.2 kilometers of range. Tata Tiago 19 kilowatt hour gives 3.1. Tata Tiago 24 kilowatt hour gives 3 kilometers. So this is how the Tata cars look at a S sized charger. Next, we'll look at Mahindra cars. XUV 439 kilowatt hour gives 3.7 kilometers of range per minute. XUV 9E 59 kilowatt hour gives 3.6 kilometers. BE6 59 kilowatt hour gives 3.4 kilometers. BE6 79 kilowatt hour gives 3.2 kilometers. XUV 9E 79 kilowatt hour gives 3.2 kilometers. So this is how Mahindra cars perform at a small charging speed, and XUV 400 is the winner here. The margin is not very much between the models, but XUV 400 gives the fastest. Next, MG cars. As I said before, Comet is not considered here because it doesn't support fast charging. So that leaves with only Windsor and the ZSEV as of now. So Windsor 53 kilowatt hour battery pack gives 3.5 kilometers. ZSEV 59 kilowatt hour gives 3.4 kilometers. Windsor 38 kilowatt hour gives 3.4 kilometers. In the case of Windsor, for some reason, the bigger battery pack is slightly more efficient than the smaller battery pack. Again, this data depends on how people are mentioning as the real life range. So maybe there is some difference here and there, but this is what I get from the data I collected. Next is the Hyundai cars. Hyundai Creta 42 kilowatt hour gives 4.3 kilometers of charging. Creta 51 kilowatt hour gives 3.9 kilometers. The two Kona cars, Kona 48 and Kona 65 are next. Kona 48 gives 3.1 kilometers. Kona 65 gives 3 kilometers, and Hyundai Ioniq 5, which is the much touted, the best EV car of Hyundai probably, is at 2.9 kilometers, which is far behind Creta at small charging speeds. At this point, don't get carried away, because you will see that as we go to the next charging speed, you will see how the high-end cars like Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6, etc., how they outperform the others. You will see it when we come there. Next is BYD cars at 30 kilowatt hour, 30 kilowatt of charging speed. Seal 61 kilowatt hour is the fastest here at 3.6 kilometers per minute of charging. Atto 360 is giving 3.5 kilometers of charging of range per minute. Seal 82 gives 3.4. Atto 350 gives 3.3. Emax 7 55 kilowatt hour gives 3.3 again. Emax 7 at 70 kilowatt hour gives 3.2 kilometers, and Sea Lion 7 82 kilowatt hour gives 2.9 kilometers. Again, among the BYD cars, the most expensive or the most luxurious one, which is Sea Lion 7, is at the bottom at these charging speeds, the same as is what you saw for the Hyundai cars. Next, let's look at Kia cars. Kia Carens Clavis EV with the 42 kilowatt hour battery gives 3.3 kilometers per minute of charging. Carens Clavis with 54 kilowatt hour battery gives 3.2 kilometers of range. EV6 84 kilowatt hour gives 3 kilometers per minute of charging. The same observation, the high-end models give less range per minute of charging at slow speeds. Next is the Volvo cars. Only two models here, XC40 and C40. XC40, which is 69 kilowatt hour battery pack, is giving 2.9 kilometers of range per minute of charging. C40, which is 78 kilowatt hour, gives the same 2.9 kilometers of range per minute of charging. So that completes all the cars, around 30 of them, or 30 or 34, I don't know how many of them, at slow speed of 30 kilowatt of public charging. And now is the time to see among all these brands, which cars are the top 5. So let's take a look at that. And as you can see here, Tata Punch 35 kilowatt hour model wins here with 4.5 kilometers of range per minute of charging at 30 kilowatt speed. Next is Tata Nexon 30 with 4.3 kilometers. Hyundai Creta 42 kilowatt hour battery pack gives 4.3 kilometers of range. Tata Nexon 45 gives 3.9. Hyundai Creta 51 kilowatt hour gives 3.9 kilometers. So these are the top 5 when you compare all the cars that we have discussed so far. So if you have a Tata Punch, then you probably have the best car that can give the best range per minute of charging at 30 kilowatt of DC charging speed. Well, we are going to discuss all other at different speeds as well. But if you're liking the content so far, do like the video, do subscribe to the channel, do press the bell icon so that you get more and more involved with such kind of content presented in this channel. Next, we are going to the M-sized speed, which is 60 kilowatt of charging speed. We'll first talk in the same order with the Tata cars first. So Tata Punch 35 kilowatt hour gives 7.6 kilometers. So it has roughly doubled from the previous one, obviously because your charging speed has doubled, and if the car supports that speed, it will roughly double the range per minute of charging number. So Punch 35 7.6 is the winner again. Nexon 30 at 7.4 is at second spot. Curve 45 7.1, Curve 55 6.9, Harrier 75 6.9, Nexon 45 at 6.6, Harrier 65 at 6.5 kilometers. Tata Tiago, as you can see, they have sort of maxed out here because they don't support 60 kilowatt of charging speed. So nothing has changed for Tata Tiago from the previous slide for Tata cars. So Tiago 19 still remains at 3.1 and Tiago 24 remains at 3.0 kilometers. That's why you see them in red in this picture, because they are kind of out of race when it comes to 60 kilowatt of charging speed. Next, let's move on to Mahindra cars. XCV9E is now the leader. I think XCV400 was the leader in the previous one, but XCV9E 59 kilowatt hour at 7.1 kilometers of range per minute. B6 79 kilowatt hour pack is at 6.7. It's at second spot. Third is XCV9E 79 kilowatt hour battery pack at 6.5 kilometers of range. B6 59 at 6.4, and XUV400 is at 5.2. So XUV400 probably maxed out at some charging speed. That's why it has remained at the bottom. So you can see here that as you have better charging speed, the higher end models come to the top of this list. Let's move on to MG cars at M speed. ZSEV 59 kilowatt hour is 6.8 kilometers. Windsor 53 kilowatt hour is 5.9, and Windsor 38 is at 5.8 kilometers. So that's MG cars at 60 kilowatt of charging speed. Next is Hyundai cars. Hyundai Creta again comes on the top. Creta 42 is at 6.2 kilometers. Ioniq 5, which was at the bottom in the previous slide, has now come up. Ioniq 5 73 kilowatt hour is at 6.1 kilometers of range per minute. Kona 48 is at 6.1 again. Kona 65 is 6 kilometers per minute of charging, and Creta 53 is 5.6 kilometers of range per minute of charging. Next, let's see the BYD cars. BYD Seal 61 is again at the top at 7.2 kilometers of range per minute of charging. Atto 360 is at 6.9. Seal 82 is at 6.7 kilometers of range per minute of charging. Atto 350 is 6.6. Emax 755 kilowatt hour battery pack is at 6.5 kilometers. Emax 770 is at 6.4 kilometers. Sea Lion 7 5.9 is at 5.9. So Sea Lion 7 again is right at the bottom. Now is the time for Kia cars at 60 kilowatt speed. Carens Clavis 42 gives 6.7 kilometers. Carens Clavis 54 gives 6.5 kilometers, and EV6 is still at the bottom at 5.9 kilometers among the Kia cars. And next up is the Volvo cars XC40 and C40. Again, not much of a difference between the two cars. Both give 5.8 kilometers of range per minute of charging. So that ends up the charging speed of different cars that are in scope today. And now is the time to see who is the winner at 60 kilowatt of charging speed, and that is here. The winner again is Tata Punch 35 kilowatt hour battery pack at 7.6 kilometers. Tata Nexon 30 is at 7.4 kilometers. BYD Seal has entered in this round. BYD Seal 61 kilowatt hour is at 7.2 kilometers. Tata Curve 45 is at 7.1 kilometers, and Mahindra XCV9E 59 kilowatt hour pack is again at 7.1 kilometers. So if you are looking at 60 kilowatt of charging speed, these are the cars that come on top. Again, don't think that these are the best cars for long distance, because as you can you will see in the second part of this episode that it is also a matter of how big the battery pack is when you do long travel. So it's a combination of how big the battery pack is and how fast you can charge the car in terms of range per minute. So you will see that. Okay, now we are moving up. We are looking at L-sized charging speed, 120 kilowatt of charging speed. Remember, this kind of speed is not easy to get in India today in 2025. I'm not saying it's not available. It is available. When I checked in PlugShare, and if I roughly look at India, there are probably maybe 60 or 70 charging locations where this much speed is available as per PlugShare. I don't know the real figure, but it is not easy to find this high speed of charging in India. But as I said before, the infrastructure will be updated. We will get more and more charging speed in the years to come. So it is probably healthy to look at this charging speed as well. So Tata cars at 120 kilowatt of charging speed. Now you can see the higher end cars ruling the roost. So Harrier 75 kilowatt hour battery pack gives 11.8 kilometers of charging speed. So that's very impressive. That means if you charge for roughly about 1 hour, you will get more than 600 kilometers of range. So that's where these high-end models add value. So Harrier 65 is at 11 kilometers, and you will see a bunch of other cars which are in red. That means they have maxed out. They don't support 120 kilowatt of charging speed. So all these Punch, Nexon, Curve, Tiago cars. So if you are owning these cars and if you see a charging gun which is at 120 kilowatt and another charging gun which is at 30 or 60, please don't pick 120 kilowatt gun for your car charging, because it doesn't make any sense, or it doesn't increase your charging speed nor your range per minute number. So don't use higher guns if your car doesn't support. Let it be used by other cars which do support the high speed. So that's my request through this video. So let's move on to the Mahindra cars. Mahindra cars, we still have four cars still in contention: XEV90 and BE6 models. XEV90 59 gives 14.4 kilometers. That's pretty impressive, much more than Tata. BE6 79 gives 13.3 kilometers. BE6 59 kilowatt hour battery pack gives 12.8 kilometers. XEV9E 79 kilowatt hour battery pack gives 12.8 kilometers, and XUV 400 is maxed out already in the previous session, so it is in red. There is no change to that model. Okay, let's look at MG cars. The two cars, the Windsor models are now out of the race. Only ZSEV 59 kilowatt hour battery pack gives 13.6 kilometers of range per minute. ZSEV has a good DC charging speed support, so that's why it performs well at this speed. Next up is the Hyundai cars. Only Ioniq 5 is standing out. Creta and Kona are out of the race. Ioniq 573 gives 12.1 kilometers of charging per minute. And the BYD cars, all the BYD cars are still in contention, which is surprising and which is good as well, because BYD cars have advanced technology as far as EV technology is concerned. So BYD cars all are still in contention at 120 kilowatt of charging speed. The Seal 61 still is at the top with 14.4 kilometers of range. Atto 360 gives 13.9. Seal 82 is now moved up to 13.4 kilometers. Atto 350 gives 13.2. Sea Lion 7 is 11.7 kilometers. Emax 770 is 10.5, and Emax 755 kilowatt hour speed is 8.3 kilometers. One thing that surprised me in the BYD cars is that Sea Lion 7 doesn't really figure out at the top in terms of range per minute of charging. Next are the Kia cars. Kia cars are again still in contention. EV6 84 gives 11.9 kilometers, so EV6 has moved to the top. Karen's Clavis EV is 42 kilowatt, gives 9.4 kilometers, and 54 kilowatt hour battery pack gives 9.2 kilometers per minute of charging. And the last one in this series is the Volvo cars, XC40 and C40, 11.6 and 11.5. They're still in contention at this speed, so which is good. So this is the charging speed for Volvo cars. And now is the time to see the leaderboard, which cars are at the top 5 at 120 kilowatt of charging speed, and the result is here. The BYD Seal is now on top at 14.4 kilometers. BYD Seal 61 kilowatt hour battery pack. And then Mahindra XEV90 is at 14.1 kilometers per minute of charging. BYD Atto 361 kilowatt hour battery pack is 13.9 kilometers. MG ZSEV is 13.6, and BYD Seal 82 kilowatt hour battery pack is at 13.4 kilometers. One thing that strikes me is that the Atto 3 and MG ZSEV, which are below the 30 lakh ex showroom price, are in this high speed charging list in the top 5. So that is something to note. Okay, let's move on to XL speed, which is 150 kilowatt of DC fast charging speed. Tata cars, none of the Tata cars support this speed, so all cars are out of this race. It is the same as what you saw earlier with the 120 kilowatt. So Tata is out. Mahindra is also out. None of the cars have any improvement at 150 kilowatt over the last slide that you saw. MG still has MG ZSEV, which is impressive. MG ZSEV gives 14.4 kilometers at this speed, and the Windsor is knocked out. Hyundai has still Ionic 5 at 15.1 kilometers of charging speed. Creta, Kona are out of the race. BYD cars, interestingly, BYD still has like 5 different models which are still performing at this speed. So again, the winner is Seal 61 kilowatt hour at 15.3 kilometers of range per minute. Atto 360 at 14.8, Seal 82 at 14.3, Atto 350 at 14, Seal Ion 7 at 12.4 kilometers. Emax 7 has maxed out at this speed, so it doesn't figure here. Then the Kia cars, only EV6 is still standing out. EV6 84 kilowatt hour at 14.8 kilometers per minute. And the last of the series, Volvo cars, they still are in the race. XC40 at 12.3 kilometers of range per minute. And now is the time to check the top 5. And as you can see, BYD Seal is still winning at higher speed. So BYD Seal 61 kilowatt hour is 15.3 kilometers of range per minute of charging. Hyundai Ioniq 5 is at second place at 15.5. Kia EV6 is at 14.8. BYD Atto 360 kilowatt hour pack is at 14.8, and MG ZSEV is at 14.4. So again, the first 3 models here, BYD Seal, Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6, are in the range of 40 to 60 lakhs or even more ex showroom. But Atto 3, which is Atto 3 and ZSEV, which are in the range of 30 lakhs ex showroom, are still in the top 5 when it comes to XL speed or 150 kilowatt of charging speed. I hope you are still with me in this long video of comparing different cars at different charging speed. Now we are at the last speed that we are discussing today at XXL speed, 350 kilowatt of DC fast charging. It's very rare to find this kind of charging speed, but assuming that there are some stations in India which do support this, then how do this car perform? Tata cars has actually only 2 cars survive at this charging speed. When I say survive, I mean that can support this charging speed. Okay, nothing happens to the car. So by the way, if you plug in a high voltage, a high speed charging gun to a low speed car, nothing happens. Okay, it won't. It still supports at the minimum speed that the car can support. So don't get worried with the, if you see a high charging speed gun, it doesn't blow away your car. So let's talk at XXL speed, 350 kilowatt. Tata, there's nothing in Tata, there's nothing in Mahindra, nothing in MG as well. ZSEV has now maxed out. Hyundai has Ioniq 5 still. So Ioniq 5 does support 350 kilowatt of charging speed. So it gives a whopping 29.9 kilometers of range per minute of charging. So to give you some context, if you charge Hyundai Ioniq 5 at this particular charging speed for about 15 minutes, you will get how much? 15 into 30. For 15 minutes, you'll get 450 kilometers of range. That's massive, and that's what will matter when you are on a long trip. So let's move on to BYD cars. Nothing supports at this speed. Kia, again, Kia EV6 has a support for 350 kilowatt of DC fast charging speed. So it gives you 29.4 kilometers of range. The other cars are maxed out. The Volvo cars are also out of this race. So this makes it clear who is the winner for this particular round at 350 kilowatt of speed. Hyundai Ioniq 5, 29.9 kilometers is at top spot. Kia EV6 at 29.4 kilometers is at the second spot. And then you can see the huge difference between the second and the third spot, which is third spot is BYD Seal 61 at 15.3 kilometers, BYD Atto 3 14.8, MG ZSEV 14.4 kilometers. So that is how the cars will perform. So you will clearly see here the advantage of high speed charging for these cars. Again, it's not supported in India today, but I'm pretty sure we will get there sometime in the future. So that's what you have seen today. Different cars at different charging speeds, how much range they give for every minute of charging. If I were to summarize, at the normal 30 kilowatt and 60 kilowatt of charging speeds, the Tata Punch and these smaller battery pack cars, they do fairly well. But I'm going to cover in the second part how it how these cars perform when you try to do a long distance, how much time it takes for these cars to do long distances, considering the charging speed and the stops and various other things. So second part of this video is also going to be interesting. I hope you will come back to the second part when I prepare this. But for part one, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching. See you again in other episodes of Green and Clean YouTube channel.